Hey, hey, hey. How are you?
I'm good.
Yes. We are in. It's about 3 o'clock our end, and we've been doing reviews for ages. But
3
we have
a.m.
left one of the best, and probably interestingly one of the most changed
Yeah,
till last for us. We do like, share, subscribe, and check out all the other reviews if you haven't already. There's plenty of them, for goodness
there
sake.
are loads
Um,
now.
Also, let us know if you like this sort of style and all that jazz. And of course, comment and comment and comment because we love it, and you've done such a good job so far at commenting, and we enjoy it muchly. We wanted to continue.
We
So,
do.
with all that said, we are here today. I'm Lucky Sixes. This is Hyper G from Proxy Table Gaming to look at Vampire Covenant.
You know what? That intro was so good. I think you should copy that one and use it for all of the army. Oh,
Yeah,
we've
I was going to
recorded
say
on.
do it again. Yeah. Oh
Oh.
god. But yes, we are here for Vampire Covenant. Quite a big change log actually. Well, they haven't written change log, but quite a big set of changes in this.
Which you can summarize with one sentence. Bloodlines are gone.
Kind of.
I
Yeah,
preferred my
yeah,
version.
don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the clickbait that will
Yeah.
used to get you on his. But yeah, it's a mini lab essentially because, like the Warriors, the where the favors have changed, the bloodlines have certainly changed somewhat. As we walk through, Master of Undeath, one character in the Vampire Career must be nominated to be the Master. He's not there anymore.
Oh, sure.
However, it's because it's been simplified because the
Yeah.
general was always the master, basically.
Yeah.
Um, the because it says at the start of the game the general one is master. Ashes to
Yeah.
Ashes, in a similar way to the UD, has been simplified, and you lose 1 health point after the general has been slain at the start of every subsequent
Yeah. You don't have to take a discipline
player
test for it
turn.
anymore.
No discipline test. It's a bit lost a bit of its fluff from that regard,
Hmm.
and the zombies for sure don't
I mean, they're
give.
rejoicing, the
They
zombies.
don't care. They went from
No.
losing 10 models per round to 4 in total. you know.
Yeah. And I mean, by a similar rejoicing vein, you've got the ghouls who we'll see can now take musicians.
Mm.
They're going to be blowing their flutes at this.
Well, they certainly
As
are, and they're definitely flutists.
Yeah.
Flutists? I don't know. Meeting of Minds has been added. That's a dragon rule, which gains
Mhm.
necromantic aura. We'll get to when we get to dragons.
Yeah.
Um, which is cool. Then moving through all the others, the special and everything is exactly the same. Hereditary works the same as well, so don't get too worried about that.
No. I think
Uh,
when VC get a big change, the hereditary was probably a big worry that it might be
mm,
changed, but it hasn't.
absolutely,
So
it
yeah.
has not. No. And yes, we get onto blood powers, and the bloodlines somewhat have changed in that you can mix and match, and you know if you choose Lemire, for example, all your vampires don't have to be Lemire. So
Mm.
this, I mean, immediately creates lots of different list building options and
Doesn't it
synergies and
just?
stuff, but way too many for us to think about right now, and that will come out the woodwork. But yeah, I really like that actually. Some that sort of said there's an argument to say it's less fluffy for sure in terms of like the way you build your army. You can have a Lemire and a Strigoi, for example.
Yeah.
But I quite like that, and
I think it's the way that Ninth Age is going, and that like demons, you don't have to have the same
yeah,
manifestation in your whole army.
mono sin.
Exactly, and warriors were the same with the different seven sins and all
Yeah,
that lot. They can vary it up, so it's bringing it all into line. I don't personally, I'm not too upset by it.
yeah.
But
As a vampire player, I'm not too bothered. I get the thing. I get why it might annoy some people. But I think it's a positive change.
well, people can
As
still
change
do
can
it,
be.
just they're not forced to. If you want to
Yes.
make your list all Brotherhood of the Dragon,
Oh,
you still can.
the biggest negative of doing it like this is that, for example, we will see later on, the units don't get their bloodline power added or option.
Yes. Hmm.
So we'll try and work our way through it as quickly as possible. And when we get to the unit entries, you'll see what they've lost from that. And
Yeah.
some of them have lost, and some of them not so much. but we'll get onto that as it is. So, the blood powers are now split into 3. You must purchase unique upgrades. And we'll get onto that when we get into the unit thing. But there are Ancestral, which can only take 1 of, and then Greater and Lesser, which you can take a mixture of. So working through the Ancestral blood powers, we've got Lemire, which gives Distracting and Lightning Reflexes, 60 points. This is all sort of going to be, it's sort of different in the way it sort of works, because it used to be 45 points, but also used to offer different things. Probably what we'll do for this review is just tell you straight up what it now does, because that whole system is so hard to judge whether the points has gone up or down or whatever. So it's just saying really what they've got, because it's so much of a rework.
A lot of them are very similar to what they used to be, just
yes,
explained better anyway. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, you used to get lightning reflexes, distracting, but there was like stuff like -1 attack value, which now you don't have, which is quite interesting. There was still the limitation that you couldn't have heavy armor and shield. So it's pretty much the same, but we'll tell you what you got, and yeah, we'll go from there. Strigoi is on foot or on a shrieking horror, so it's still got that limitation. Cannot take armor. It's very similar. Health points set to 4, fortitude 4+, and hatred. So it's very very solid. 60 points.
I'd say so.
It's interesting that those two are the highest one. Brotherhood is only 20. Giving you plate armor, weapon.
I think that's really cheap.
Yeah, it is. It used to properly buff up your offensive skill. I think you got +2 offensive skill as well with it, which you and all the dueling stuff that came with it. So it's a really good one for 20 points. Weapon Master. You can. It's very similar. It's just a few things taken out, and I think that's across the board, really. Nosferatu. Again, cannot be taken by heavy armor. Only 20 points again. Gates of the Netherworld, which is very interesting for double healing mechanics. Awakened skeleton zombies, and knows the hereditary spell in addition. So it's very, very, very magical, very good.
It's very good paying 20 points just for the hereditary spell, let alone the other 2 parts of it.
So I quite like that actually, as a vampire upgrade. Used to be free. So I guess from that point of view it's gone up, but as we said, you also don't get the -1 attack and 2 offensive, so very hard to think. Von Carstein being free and increasing your commanding presence and rally around the flag by 6, as well as giving the model's unit autonomous, I think is really interesting. This makes I think it's more interesting for the BSB from that point of view. But yeah,
I guess
I like
the fact that it's free, it must suggest that the cost of it is already included with the vampire that you're taking it on, effectively.
To a certain degree. I think it's because a lot of the time you're going to have to take a blood power of sorts.
Yeah, and you're paying to not take any of the others.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Or not paying in this regard, but
exactly.
Yeah, I like it. I think. I mean, it used to be free anyway, so it's very similar. But I like that. Going on to the greater powers, got Ghoul Lord. So this can only be. This is where you see some of them where the bloodlines have gone. They haven't really gone.
No,
Ghoul Lord can only be taken on Strigoi. Gives the unit poison attacks, and if they already had it, better poison. So very cool. 70 points, quite a lot, but it's what it is. Commandment on Lemire only. Defensive and offensive 6 on units. They get those ghouls up or skeletons up.
That's really good.
Probably Beauregard, right? If we're really looking at it. Crimson Rage, so battle focus and must reroll to hit. That's quite a nice one.
It's interesting to see that the greater blood power for Brother the Dragon is so much more pricey than the actual Ancestral blood power. But that's because it's better.
It is. I mean, Crimson Rage used to be something very similar. Rerolls to hit, I think.
of course, that you used to combine it with Blessed Inscription, so you reroll hit and wound, and now you can't do that anymore. But that's a Blessed Inscription.
So there is other ones that later on. But yep, that's 60 points, a big one. Stormcaller from von Carstein is a hard target and within 12. Very, very good. Especially for your big models, actually. So that's 60 points. And Arcane Knowledge for Nosferatu only. +6 range and +3 range for Aura. I've got a feeling that was an independent or Nosferatu.
Sure.
So the fact that you can only do it with Nosferatu is a bit of a nerf, I guess. But it has gone down.
But I guess points. Independent is gone now, effectively, isn't it? Because you just don't take them.
Yes.
Or
and that is a thing as well. We'll get onto because there's an option that's been taken away. Basically, there are some options that are taken away for things, but yes, I really like Arcane Knowledge, and it was used a fair amount, especially when Mikey used it quite a bit. But it has to be Nosferatu now rather than can be independent. So that's an interesting choice. Onto the lesser ones, which aren't always lesser, especially when you go into Supreme Leash. 290 points. Obviously, it's aimed towards courtiers, so it gives them a courtier with master is good. Nosferatu only again. So I mean, pretty cool. Very, very pricey. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And as far as I can remember, this is a unique added in one. Unless some of the Nosferatu stuff allowed that, but I really like it. It's very pricey. I'm not still out. Jury's out there. Eternal Jurist to hit and to wound with 1 must be re-rolled. It's what it is before. It's still there. It's still 80 points. It's still really, really good. Monster Hunter still 45 points. Multiple wounds 2, exactly the same on Tyrant Presence. Flying Horror. We've got 714 Light Troops and Swift Stride. I'm just checking. Yeah, it's exactly the same. But you don't have the Storm of Wings as you did before, and that's apparently worth 15 points because it's got a little bit cheaper. Unbreakable Will is so as well. Apart from that first one, I think all of these can be taken by anyone, but we'll see. Unbreakable Will at the start of each round of combat. This unit gains Stubborn.
Yeah.
So it's very cool.
As long as you're engaged in the same combat as the bearer.
Yeah. And can be your own unit as well. Used to be 30 points, still 30 points. Yeah. Bestial Bulk, 25 points. This is interesting that it doesn't have to be Strigoi. It used to be Strigoi only. I think. I'll double check it. Or independent.
Sure.
So the fact that you could mix and match this with different blood powers as well, potentially, I find really interesting. Because
I suppose it means ghasts are more playable because they're not just restricted to Strigoi.
Yeah, and you can have different characters in that ghast unit. I'm interested to see what list building this creates, actually.
Yeah.
Because it used to be Strigoi or independent, so I'm sure there's a combination somewhere where this is really good. But it makes the unit stubborn. Scoring itself. It's a lot cheaper, but you don't get the +1 resilience like you did before. So that's probably quite important. Mesmerizing Gaze is a 10-point one. Used to be 35, but you don't gain. It's not the same thing. You used to gain Whispers of the Veil as a bound spell. -1 res. -1 res discipline, I think it was. But now it is whenever possible, unless another model does so first, the model must accept or issue a jewel. So this is that whole jewel mechanic thing.
Yeah, the Blood Dragon.
Enemy models in the jewel, without harnessed in the jewel, get -1 attack. So yeah, I quite like it. 10 points as well. So if you kit up your thing and have 10 points spare and a blood power, days.
Why not?
I do worry that it's at the cost of another blood power though, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And then Mysteries of the Night, completely free, and again,
I am baffled by this.
As far as I know, this is completely different to anything I've seen. It completely changes the path access you have to. So you get cosmology, shamanism, and witchcraft, and I'm pretty sure they're 3 completely separate ones to the vampire does normally have in evocation or occultism. So they've got 5 accesses.
How has that been 0 points?
Yeah, man.
The only way I can think that has been chosen as 0 points is because they couldn't decide how much it should cost.
Yeah.
So they're waiting to see what people think.
I mean, apprentices and adepts only, so you can't get the master on those 3.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, really, really, really positive.
You got access to 12 new spells that you never had before.
Yeah, and it's not attached to Nosferatu or any sort of thing. So
it's free.
It's gonna be huge in what you can do with it. So yeah, and really,
all 3 paths are so good.
So overall. There's been a structural change and a few really nice added powers there.
For free.
Well, not all for free.
not the 290 one.
So really interesting. And list building wise, there's gonna be so many combinations there.
Oh, this opens the door to so much.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
It's really freshened them up, I think.
In terms of items, and there's no changes apart from the magical attacks, which we never mention.
We don't mention
in weapon enchantments. The banner of Zagvoid basically is still the same, but you can't choose a different unit.
Yeah, it has to be on the unit you've got it on.
So it has come down significantly though to 55 points, and I love it.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, it is only on Beauregard and Baronites, but that was the same as before.
And I mean, you can only put it on standard height or Baronites anyway.
Yeah,
I think it's really good. I think it's really good.
I do too.
I really like that it's got that much cheaper as well.
Yeah, if you're planning on taking Beauregard or Baronites, then you will have this standard.
Yeah,
simple as that.
So great. And the Eternity Gem is just a wording change to make it immune to lethal strikes and mortal wounds. It works exactly the same. There are no other points changes, so overall pretty positive so far. One thing we haven't done anything is look at the army organization, because up till now hasn't been changed. Obviously, with the loss of independent army, core is straight up 25%.
I think that's a good thing.
It's simpler. Independent users, vampire users, will moan a little bit at that.
Maybe
because you're using less core, which is always nice because the core isn't terribly great for vampires.
I don't know. But yeah,
it's
don't get me started on flying chaff.
Well,
in core.
But yes, so that option is gone. So forget about it, some would say.
Yeah.
Otherwise, vampire counts exactly the same price wise. In terms of the blood powers, you must take 1 or 2 blood powers.
Yeah, that's not nearly as restricting as it might sound when you think about there are some that are free.
yeah. So exactly. You can use some of the free ones, especially with the mystery of magic or whatever it is. So there's no limit to points wise for that, and the only combination limits are if you choose one of the ancient blood powers, you're only going to be able to do some of the other ones. But overall, it's pretty build your own bear style.
It is. I like it.
So you're going to see some new vampires for sure.
Definitely.
Which is really interesting. In terms of the mounts, we've got Court of the Damned has gone down up by 5 points. Excuse me. The Zombie Dragon has gone up by 10 points, and the Colossal has gone up by 10 points. So not too much change, just little tweaks here and there. The Vampire Courtier is
similar boat, really.
Exactly the same sort of job with the blood powers. Otherwise, stays the same. I can really see the apprentice vampire with that mystery magic thing
exploring new spells.
Getting maybe.
It's interesting to see Wizard Master's not an option for him because he's got to take a blood power to get that now.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
The leech thing.
But again, in terms of the prices for things, it's only the Court of the Damned that's gone up by 5 points. Nothing to write home about. The Necromancer's the same. The Barrow King's the same. The Banshee has changed. Gone up by 10 points. Otherwise the same. And you will notice there is no Felwraith anymore.
Oh.
I
didn't notice
part of the reason that whole text is gone is because there isn't a Felwraith option in this new book. I'm pretty sure that's not a typo. I'm pretty sure that's on purpose because it just wasn't
used. They've just forgotten that
page so much. Yeah. So let us know if you were a big avid Felwraith
10 Felwraith in your collection.
Unfortunately, there's no more.
They're going to sit on the shelf with the Skink Priests. Hey, I got to enter another review.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so that's a sad thing. I always never like to see
really sad
units taken out of characteristics.
My Skink Priests are so sad.
Yeah, but just if you've got 10, turn them into a unit now.
Of Wraiths,
Of Wraiths, yeah.
Well done.
So
can't do that with Skink Priests.
No. Moving on to the mounts, and we'll go to Court of the Damned. So
I'm really confused by this. It's like so confused. I don't know if you can see why. Armor 2, I don't understand. Like, how does that affect your vampire who goes on a Court of the Damned?
So you can only get a 5-up armor, is what I'd take, because you take the defensive stat of your mount.
Yeah, but it's gone up in price. I'm baffled. That's just horrible.
Well, I think a lot of the time when you used to take it if you were Lemire, and I don't think there was many other options to take Court of the Damned. And I think Lemire can't take heavy armor or shield anyway.
I see. Okay.
Maybe Essence of Mithril could have been used on it, but I'm not sure. But
well, I mean, when I took the Court of the Damned, I used to have the Fortitude. What was the Fortitude armor? The 100-point one.
Yeah.
But yes, and that would increase his armor. But this, like you say, it makes it a flat 5-up, which is not that powerful, really.
Yeah. I don't know whether that is a typo, but it still offers the same. It doesn't have the 4+ Aegis because there's no Lemire blood tie, and that's what we see with a lot of things, which is a shame that that's not there. So you're going to have to get that from your magical allowance somewhere. Items. Shrieking Horror is the same as mount. Monstrous Reverend has lost light troops, but that's because of the fly, so don't worry about it. The Zombie Dragon. So moving on to this one, and as with the Colossal as well, it's movement 714, and they've gained Meeting of Minds, and the Meeting of Minds is that
autonomous within 6 inches.
Necromantic aura. So autonomous stuff. So I quite like that. That's really good for zombies. It gives another movement wagon, like the Black Coat Donny Out Coach was.
Dare I mention it? It's possibly not as powerful as Channel 1.
Arguably for vampires, this is more important.
Is it?
Because you can move. It means you don't have to work in the bubble as much, and it's really good for vampires. You can argue
I'm trying to bait you, but I could argue.
I know.
I could argue, but I won't.
No, I like that. That's very fluffy for them. It's probably one of the more fluffy and relevant ones of the Meeting of Minds that I've seen as well. So I quite like that. But otherwise, they haven't changed. The movement is a bit of a shame. But actually,
I think it's a flat kind of change for dragons.
It's a flat change, and actually, these dragons have benefited from that as well because they go up. So
and you combine this with the blood power that you get in hard target as well. It's amazing.
Yeah. So. Core zombies are the same. Skeletons are the same. Ghouls we will talk about a bit. They have gained the option for a musician, but that basically means they have to pay for it now.
Yeah, it's actually enough.
So
their flute playing ability because they've got to pay for it now.
Do tell us about your modelling things for the
musician. That's true.
I'm quite interested to see what people will do for that, because obviously you just have a champion. So what? I mean, we jest about the flute, but what instruments are they actually playing? Other than a drum, for example. I'd love to see a xylophone.
Banging two bones together. Yeah. Bone maracas, maybe.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But yeah, so it's essentially...
A xylophone would be superb. Yeah. Someone needs to get some green stuff going.
Yeah, they get a full-blown musician rather than just the Swift Reform goodness that you had. Yeah. And the Vanguard has just been moved to it. So they still have that option, the blood ties thing. Which is good that they've still got that option, because that's quite a big game mechanic. Bat swarms have gone up from 19 to 20. Thank you very much, whoever did that. Don't even care that it's technically enough. Although I say that it's got extra support 3. So if you weren't before, you're going to be using them one wide. On to special. Direwolves are the same. Great Bats are the same. Gas are the same. Beauregard, ever so slight change in that they've gone from 20 to 18. Who did that? Who changed from the nice round numbers to 18? Who does that? 18
is still an even number. I mean,
I guess we've got that. We've got that.
They could have changed it to 19 and really upset you.
Yeah, that would have.
That would have been a prime number as well.
I mean technically it's better, but anyway. Baronet's the same. Cadaver Wagon is the same. Dark Coach lost its stubborn ability. If you were a Von Carstein, I can see why stubborn would be good for it. But other than that, nothing to talk about. Court of the Damned, one of the big changes in the book, got more expensive. The normal option has 5 pages as standard.
I think that's good. That's
yes. I really like that. You used to be able to get 4 up for 90 points, but for basically 30 points, they've given it 5 pages. So I really like that. I think this model.
I think this model is now only really takeable as a unit as opposed to a character mount.
I guess I don't know the item and the combinations for the things, but it definitely very, very nice as a thing, as a unit option for sure. So I really like this. I don't mind that it's gone up, because overall you're paying less, because you would always try to have it.
I've lost at least 3 battles to Matty Champion because of this one model. So there you go.
Definitely.
Very good
I don't mind that so much at all. The Altar of Undeath is exactly the same. Moving on to the Suffering, so the
Suffering,
the ghosts basically. Phantom Hosts have gone up for your basic.
And there's caps on them as well now, which is interesting.
There used to be caps. There's actually increased the caps.
Okay.
Oh no, it hasn't gone up at all. What am I talking about? Because I've missed 4 to 9. It used to be 2 to 5 models. Okay. So for an extra 15 points, you've gained 2 models.
That's great. And extra support involved.
And extra support 3.
You can go 2 wide and really benefit.
The additional models have gone from 73 down to 40, so they're really going cheaper. You still had the 0 to 2 units per army, but now they're 0 to 10 models per army rather than 0 to 6. The Aegis used to be 2 up or 5 up against
but that's the trend.
But the 3 up has changed, and extra support. So this is one of the biggest
winners.
Winners of everything really. I'm very interested to know Unit 4 is.
Are they the first unit on your team list now?
Well, I think to try out for sure. That's a really interesting one. I missed that they've gained extra models, so that would be cool.
Yeah.
The Wraiths always had the Aegis 3 up or 5 up to whatever, so they've got that. The Champion is still 100 points. I don't know why. I guess it's taken out of the blood ties thing.
Yeah.
But you can get it even without blood ties, which is that is a good thing. And list building wise, that'll allow, say, Brotherhood of the Dragon users to use it. So that's cool. I quite like that. Similar with the Spectral Hunters. I say similar, I mean exactly the same point. On to Swift Death. One of the big losers. I say big. One of the slight losers of the Vampire Knights. Gone up 5 points. Lost the ability to get 1-up armor. Which was a huge draw to take in the Brotherhood.
I think so.
With them.
I mean, 2-up armor is still great.
Yeah. They as basic though have the +1 attack, so you weren't paying for that. But they don't have the armor. So it's only a slight change.
Are the undead mounts not as good now?
Yeah, that as well. So the undead mount used to be offensive 3, strength 4, AP 1, now 2. Now it's just a skeleton horse basically.
Yeah. A very ill horse.
Yeah, I mean they were a very good unit before. I've got just right. Was it there? I've got 10 more to build up, which is a shame because I should have used them before.
They're still good.
They're still very good. They're still good, and they've still got 3 attacks from the Knights, potentially strength 7. So nothing to sniff at.
Not at all.
So, but a bit more cagey with them, I think, than the gung ho style before. Vampire. Otherwise, Vampire Spawn the same, Varklak's the same, Winged Reaper's the same, and the Shrieking Horror is the same. Which takes us to the end of our little dazzling review of the Vampire Counts. Or Covenant, sorry. And I quite like it. List building wise, it's one of the biggest. It opened up a lot of options. Whether you like the options or not is another thing, so please do put in the comments. But certainly become a much more diverse army. And
I think it's a lot less complex as well because you've taken the blood powers out of every unit and put them only on characters. I think that's perfect.
Yeah,
it was so complicated before.
It was complicated in terms of keeping up with it. I think it's potentially more complicated for the opponent because there's so many different combinations now that you can have.
Yes, you have to forget about all the templates that you used to remember.
It's a bit,
it's a bit Equitane now.
And Demonsy, I guess, from that point of view. So we'll see what the good combinations come out of it. I still think a lot of
you still find similar ones paired together.
I still think that things like Arcane Knowledge, all the Brotherhood ones are still powerful in their own right. So the Nosferatu seems quite appealing, actually, from reading the book as well. So overall, I think positive change, if not an exciting change, even if it's not exciting.
Yeah, I mean,
optimal.
I know I'll be growing a vampire list myself, and I won't be playing it for a long time. So there you go. It's really good. I like it.
Yeah, same. So it's certainly one of the big changes as well. A lot of the books across the board didn't change too much. This one certainly did. So you've got that at least, if nothing else. That takes us concludes this review. Do go and check out all the other reviews and all the other videos that we have on our channel. Like, share, subscribe, as we said. Check out all the social medias. But overall, have a good Christmas.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And this is the last one that we're actually recording. Whether it's the last one you watch is another matter entirely.
Yes.
I mean, if you've watched all of them and you are watching this one as your last one, the same that we're recording this one as our last one, I think that's worth a comment, right?
Yeah, I think so. and a clap from me.
And me.
And us, but otherwise, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. A bit of a longer review than all our other ones. Let us know if you like the style. And if you have watched all of them as well, put it in the comments. Well done. And let us know
how wrong we were.
Which is inevitable on all the reviews. But we've really enjoyed doing it. And looking forward to all the rest of the content in the rest of the year. And also lots and lots of content in the start of the new year. Very exciting
2023 is going to be a big year.
It's going to be a huge year. And we're very much looking forward to it. But until then, it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
And from
me,
goodbye
from you.
See you later.